Maria, go right to Nandia. My angry angel. Maria, go right to Nandia.
One February morning, I was startled awake by a sound coming from our kids' room. My husband, Ricardo, runs back into our room with our 3-year-old son, Marco, in his arms. Maria, look at him. I looked, and Marco was stiff, and he seemed to be gasping for air. I felt like I was frozen in time, and I went to a really dark place, and I could see myself at my son's funeral, crying bitterly, not knowing what I was going to be able to do without him. Something startled me out of my stupor, and I yelled at my daughter, Lorena, "Get your shoes on." We jump in the car, and we speed off to the hospital. At this point, Marco was breathing, but I couldn't seem to wake him up. In my mind, he had suffered some kind of strange nightmare trauma that had left him in a coma. Fortunately, my diagnosis skills are not very good. The doctors told us that Marco suffered from idiopathic epilepsy, which is a fancy word that doctors use to say they don't know why a healthy 3-year-old just starts seizing out of the blue. While we're still trying to wrap our heads around all of this, I find out that I'm pregnant. It's 9 months along the line. Turns out in December, my son Max is stillborn. We were shattered. And all of this grief took its toll on our marriage. And within 2 years, my husband and I were divorced. So here I was, single mom, taking care of a child with special needs. And Marco had all kinds of different prescriptions that had all kinds of different effects on him. Some would make him psychotic with hallucinations, others would make him groggy, and now he was suffering problems, behavioral problems at school. So imagine having a kid who has 2 seizures every day that could result in broken bones, broken teeth, a bloody head. Imagine going to a restaurant and sitting there having a nice meal, and all of a sudden, he crashes into his plate, falls on the floor, and takes the whole tablecloth with him, but not in that cool magician sort of way. As he falls on the floor, you hold him while trying to calm the patrons and apologize for the inconvenience. I wish I could say I handled this in a graceful way, but I didn't. I was so angry. I was angry at God and the universe for having given me all of these challenges in such a short period of time. And I took up karate to channel that anger. But somehow the anger seemed to seep through anyway. And there were a lot of really, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of stupid drivers out there, right? And they seemed to follow me. One day I was driving in Mexico City, merging onto a major artery, and this guy comes up behind me and cuts me off. And I had to brake hard to avoid hitting him. Oh my bleeping bleep. You are such a bleep. And there were a lot more bleeps, but I'll spare you. I wasn't going to take this sitting down. So I floor it, and I pass him, and I stop right in front of him. But my satisfaction was short-lived, because after some major gestures, the guy floors it too and cuts me off. And he comes to a stop. Uh-oh. At this point, I'm scared and angry, but I'm strangely pumped because I am ready to punch somebody out. I jump out of my car. The guy gets out of his car. But I can tell by his body language that he's disappointed. You see, he wanted a fight too, but I'm a woman. Señora, you cut in front of me, And the courtesy sounded a little weird considering where we were just at, right? Yes, señor. How's it feel? He walks away, gets in his car, and that was that. But as I'm standing there, still trembling, I realize I can't do this anymore. I am so exhausted. I realize I'm addicted to my anger. Right then and there, something shifts. When I tell a friend of mine what had happened, she's like, Maria, that guy was an angel. What? Yeah, he came to give you a message. I don't know if he was an angel, more like a ghost from a Dickens novel. But like Scrooge, I had my moment of reckoning. I saw my angry angel's face, and I saw my bitterness reflected right back at me. And I saw where I was and where I was going, and it did not bode well for me. At that point, I resolved to replace that anger with patience and faith and hope. My interactions with my son Marco became more loving. And strangely, his seizures seemed to decrease. Strange coincidence? I think not. Oh, and the stupid drivers stopped following me. I think they're following somebody else now. Marco might have been the one with the diagnosis, but I was the one who really needed the healing. I realized I had to let go of the toxic emotions that were holding me back. And my question would be, what emotions are you holding on to that might be holding you back? And if an angel comes a-knocking, will you be able to hear the message? Thank you very much.